The only thing I can say is that as a woman, if you're not married to a guy and he tells you to be financially dependent on him, take that with a pinch of salt. He gave Jane Doe £10,000 and was financing her like every month. But then she this is why it's always advised for women to always be independent, especially because you're not married to the guy. You cannot sign a prenup or a divorce or anything. I mean, you can sue for whatever, but him being generous, is £10,000 enough to start your business? It could be. You could have used that business to just start your business quietly, and then just explain to him that, look, I can't just explain that I can't financially depend on you to just pay my rent and everything, because I have my own things that I want in my life. My business was keeping me occupied, was keeping me happy, instead of me just thinking of you, or, especially because he told you were single, that he was single. Okay. A guy who's single, who's genuinely invested in you, would be happy to help you build your business. Not just, be financially dependent on me. Because what if he's trying to trap you into being all about him, and that you don't even focus on your own goals? I think maybe because with men from my culture, they will rather, we were having this conversation, men, not even just my culture, a lot of good African men will tell you, instead of you depending on me monthly to pay you, tell me your business ideas so that I can finance you, so that you don't have to depend on me. That's especially sugar daddies to sugar babies. That's what they do. So, in other sense, he could have been just trying to trap you, to love bomb you, buy you all these gifts, and then, do you get what I mean? That's the first sign of love bombing in my eyes. It's not wrong to gift the person you're with, but then, okay, it's also not wrong for a woman to depend on you. It just depends on what emotional aspect you're on. If a man came to me, or if a person came to me and said, okay, depend on me financially, and they're paying my rent, they're paying my bills, and then I just sit at home, I would feel more relaxed to actually. And if they're telling me they're single, yet I have a sense that they're dating other people, I'll just allow them to date other people. Do you get what I mean? However, that money, I'm not just going to spend it. I will build my own business, because how much money is he giving you a month? Is it enough for everything that you want? Is he going to be paying 50,000 into your account, especially because he has especially because apparently he has an ex-wife who he's paying, I don't know what he's paying for, and then he's got a current wife who he's paying for, and then he's had other exes who he's been buying houses for. So it's either, is he just being a generous person, or is he trying to keep you guys so that you can be kind of his concubines? Because an honest person would ask you for consent to say, are you willing to be with me while I'm with other people? Because one, you don't know what other people are carrying. I mean, God forbid, God no, but I don't think this whole situation should have gone this far. It just depends on what Jane Doe is also looking for from this whole exposure. He could just be those people who actually like to have different people around him. He could also have some kind of trauma, because you have to realize he's lost significant people in his life at such a young age. So there could be that thing where he kind of needs, there's, like, is it an emotional attachment or whatever? But then there's other ways he could deal with that. I mean, he's talked about it on the pulpit, but then he could actually go to certain father figures and talk about those situations to them, or mother figures, so that they can sit down with him and actually nurture him, because hopefully, it takes sexual relationships out of it, so that he can actually. There is a lot, as much as there's been a lot of judgment towards all the parties involved, we also have to kind of sympathize with all the parties and look at what kind of background they're coming from. In a sense, it was a good gesture for him to want to have this woman depend on him, but depending on him does not mean that you can't have your own mind to say, you know what, I know that he's seeing other people. Let me focus on building my business, so that if we depart, at least I've got my own thing going on. Do you get what I mean? I'm earning my own money, so that I'm not drained financially or emotionally. Your Jane Doe's business could have been flourishing, but I think a lot of emotions now, because at the end of the day, there's no reason why she couldn't continue her business in LA. There's a lot of women in the church, in Revelation Church, that could have been getting their eyelashes done. Young girls. That's where the young Trinities, sorry to mention your name, could have been going. I think the structure of the church has really gone down. And we were talking about this on TikTok, that how many people are in the praise and worship team, they're not getting paid, and they have to go for rehearsals and go every day, they have to be in church, and they're not getting paid. So how are they surviving, or are they getting paid? Yet somebody who he calls his close friends will be taking a huge salary. It's not hard to just pay people £100 or something, just to say you're playing the keyboard for Sunday. Money for petrol, money to come and sort out the paperwork. There's a whole office there. Are the people that work in the office being paid, or they're doing voluntary work? Because have you registered it as a charity organization? But then if it's a charity organization, most of the money is going to where? And while the man of God is busy spending all this money on his concubines, who is not concubines, because it's not polyamory. He's telling you you're his wife, and it's not legal. So if now people start complaining, where's their tithe and offering going? They will now say he's hoeing, using their money to hoe. Did he actually say leave your career? From the sounds of things, he just brushed it off. But then as a woman, sometimes you just have to now say, okay, he's brushed it off. Let me think for myself. What do I want in life? If I do end up having a little one for this man, and, let me have my own things, because you as a woman, you've got your own things that you possibly want to do, so that you're not so hyper focused on him and what he's got going on, or what the cheating that is happening. You could have continued your business, whether in Indiana. You could have just disputed with him and said, look, just because I've come to LA does not mean I'm going to quit my business, because at the end of the day, Because I don't want people in the church judging me and saying that all the church monies are now funding me or funding my... Do you get what I mean? Then people in the church won't now look at you a certain way. They'll be like, you know what? They had a child together, but at least she's doing her own thing. That's how you actually grow. Like, okay, you've got clients in the church that you're actually doing their eyebrows. Maybe 3 clients that you're close to. You're doing their eyelashes, eyebrows, or whatever. Yes, you may have heard with the man of God, but you kept it moving. If you had his child, at the end of the day, how many baby moms and baby dads are in America? But then people won't look at you in a certain way, because then they're not saying, well, she's using her tithe and offering to fund her lifestyle, when others are suffering in the church. What I mean, because there's a lot of controversy around charitable organizations, around these churches. Yes, you can say, okay, even if people came to you and said, well, our tithes and offerings are funding your lifestyle. But then when they see that you're giving back into the church, you're doing something to help the young women in the church, you're doing beauty courses, then people will now be more encouraged to be like, you know what, let's not look at her in a bad way. You have to balance certain things. You can't just look at it as, oh, well, he was taking me on trips, paying my rent, now we're stuck. And I'm not blaming you. This is the mature way you could have gone about things, both of you. The fact that he said that the marriage to Maggie was for ministry purposes only, but a lot of men do say that. Whether it's for ministry purposes only, whether it's for more. I mean, there was a man who told me, oh, I only married that certain woman for papers. Do you get what I mean? At the end of the day, they will say whatever they want to say. Even if it's for control, you have to just dig yourself out of it and just be like, well, I'm not the one he can control. Don't get your emotions too deep into it. Like, why did he marry her? Why is he now saying he chose right? Whether he chose right, whether he chose wrong, that was his choice. Do you get what I mean? There's other males in the world that are willing to treat you even better than that one. Because... or whether you enjoyed the company and just, you know what, I don't mind being with this man, then you can just ask him, do you want to be in a polyamorous relationship? Because I do have some interest in you. I don't mind that you have another wife. Do you get what I mean? But now it's gone this far. Because I don't want to sound like, oh, you shouldn't be with him. It was your own decision at the end of the day. It just depends on how you feel about the person. But it's only like, it's not even advice. It's just like, what could you have done? Because at the end of the day, you don't want to be financially drained because of a man. Then she mentioned in the court papers that if she knew that he was with whoever, then she wouldn't have consented, which I can totally understand, because there were other options, there were other men. So in some sense, it kind of does seem like control, because you're like, okay, depend on me. But then also, it takes 2 to tango. You can be like, well, I can only depend on you so much because you have other women that you're financing. So that it doesn't seem like it's a competition between you and those women. Oh, well, he bought her a house. Oh, well, he's going to marry her. Because now the limelight is on him. Well, he's done that for her. He's done that for her. And you just keep your things moving. Get your own business. And then if you find another boyfriend, you move on quietly. So that you're not stuck in whatever he's got going on. You have other women that you're financing. People are going to judge and think that I'm taking money from the church when there are other people suffering. There are people coming with their needs. Do you get what I mean? Some of that money should be actual, like it should be a church where there's music ministry or whatever, the music band, where you can be paying people to tutor young people, so that there's not all this ruckus. Then at least people can now applaud and say, nah, this church is actually doing something. This man came from Africa to now actually do something in America. Or, he's actually doing things across the globe. Not all that we know is that he's hoeing and he's been exposed for... I'm glad that you actually took on the idea when I now told you that all my old clothes, I gave them to charity. Now Elizabeth started running around and started giving all those clothes away. Well done, kudos. Those are the things that you should be doing. So that there are people on Skid Row near Los Angeles who need those things. Do you get what I mean? It's not just Revelation Church that has this problem. There's a lot. Most churches have this problem, and it's so annoying that a lot of the ministries in the church should be helping people, having well thought funerals for people who may have passed away, who are connected to the church. You having moments to actually meet with people who've lost their family members who are now connected to the church. Do you get what I mean? Because we can only listen to Prophet Lovi stand every other day on that TV screen. Yet there's other things that we could be commending him and be like, wow, he's actually done this with this ministry. He could have been in his billions by now. He could have had billions. Can you not do that? He could have been, been on 160 million by now. And would have been like, oh, he's 38 and now he's on 160 million. His music, he's doing well, in commemoration of his father. But see, is your father looking down at you thinking, wow, or is he just thinking, wow? Do you get what I mean? Your name should have now been, you're the person who was supposed to actually make that your family name into something even more than what it is now. Like, everybody remembers Awilo. Everybody, do you get what I mean? But we've not really had controversies of your uncle. Even your father, I don't think we had much controversies, but you had to come with extra... Ooh. You had to come with extra controversy, extra higgy haga, wiggity. You and your brothers could have been now so big, like we're doing this in commemoration of our father who passed away, even our other brother who passed away. This is to keep the Longomba legacy going. But where is it going? Even if you were doing gospel music, to just say, he's got a son who does gospel music, or a pastor, but there should have been things flying about you, but we don't know what to think of you right now, because court cases are serious. If this goes any further, court cases, if she's now saying that my goodness. With all that's been exposed, well, now you came online, somebody was now shouting at you piece of shit. That's your ex. I don't know. So, I'm neither. I'm not gay, nor am I a lesbian. I'm not part of the LGBT community. I don't do all that rainbow shenanigans because it's just... Do you get... Ugh. It's not... I don't have the time and I don't have the energy to be thinking or have that on my mind. Ugh. I don't read the Bible. I'm not a church person. Like I do not agree with doing bestiality, whatever that is. I'm not into that. I've not ever done bestiality. Please don't come and quote any Bible verses, Bible this, church this, religious that, this, I... Please don't come and quote any Bible verses, Bible this, church this, religious that, this, I...